The night was cold in the Nevada desert. Stars filled the sky like tiny diamonds. Commander Olivia Reeves pulled her jacket closer as she walked the perimeter of the military base. At 35, she had seen many strange things in her years with the Earth Defense Force, but she never truly believed in aliens. Until tonight. The alarm had sounded just after midnight. Something entered Earth's atmosphere and crashed 15 miles from the base. Radar operators tracked it all the way down. This was no meteor. It moved too precisely, changed direction too many times. "Commander, the transport is ready," said Lieutenant Patel, her second in command. Olivia nodded. "Let's move out." 4 jeeps raced across the desert sand. Olivia sat in the lead vehicle, checking her weapon. Standard procedure said to treat any unknown object as a threat, but something felt different about this one. They saw the glow before they reached the crash site. Blue-green light pulsed among the rocks and sand. When they finally arrived, everyone fell silent. "That's not one of ours," whispered Lieutenant Patel. The object was clearly a ship. It measured about 30 feet long with a smooth metallic surface that reflected the moonlight. No rivets or seams showed anywhere on the hull. One side had a large crack where it hit the ground. The strange blue-green light came from inside. "Set up a perimeter. No one gets within 50 feet except the primary team," Olivia ordered. She selected 5 soldiers to approach with her. They moved slowly, weapons ready. The sand around the ship was still hot from entry. When Olivia touched the hull, she pulled her hand back in surprise. "It's warm," she said, "and it feels strange, almost like it's humming." A section of the ship suddenly slid open. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Olivia held up her hand. "Hold your fire unless I give the order." She stepped forward cautiously. Inside the ship, the blue-green light grew brighter. The interior looked bigger than seemed possible from outside. Strange symbols covered the walls. In the center sat what looked like a control chair, designed for a human-like body but with different proportions. Behind the chair stood a transparent pod. Inside floated what appeared to be a woman. But no human woman had skin that color, a deep, rich green that seemed to glow from within. Intricate patterns covered her skin, pulsing with light. Her face looked almost human, but with sharper angles and no ears. Her hair, if you could call it that, moved slowly like underwater plants. As Olivia stared, the woman's eyes snapped open. They were amber with vertical pupils like a cat's. Olivia almost called for backup, but something in those eyes stopped her. They held intelligence, fear, and something else she couldn't identify. The pod opened with a soft hiss. The green woman stepped out gracefully. She stood slightly taller than Olivia, dressed in a tight-fitting suit that seemed made of liquid metal. "I am Zaravek, emissary of the Thraxian Imperium," the alien said in perfect English, her voice carrying a strange echo. "Your planet has been marked for harvest." Olivia raised her weapon instinctively. "This planet is under Earth Defense Force protection." Zaravek tilted her head. "Your weapons cannot harm me or prevent what is coming." She walked forward, seemingly unconcerned about the guns pointed at her. "However, there may be an alternative." "What alternative?" Olivia asked, not lowering her weapon. "Marriage," Zaravek said simply. Olivia blinked in confusion. "Marriage? What are you talking about?" "Your species practices binding ceremonies between individuals, yes? We require such a bond between one of our royal lineage and a high-ranking human, or your world burns." Zaravek's face showed no emotion as she delivered this ultimatum. "You can't be serious," Olivia said. Zaravek pointed upward. "Look to your skies tomorrow. You will see our fleet. Then you will understand the seriousness of our offer." Lieutenant Patel stepped forward. "Commander, we should take her into custody." Zaravek turned her amber eyes to Patel. "Touch me and the ships above will consider it an act of aggression." Olivia made a quick decision. "Stand down, Lieutenant. We need to report this to headquarters." She looked back at Zaravek. "You'll come with us voluntarily, as our guest. We need to discuss this with our leaders." "Very well," the alien agreed. "But the offer stands only for 7 of your days. After that, harvesting begins." As they escorted Zaravek to the vehicles, Olivia noticed how the alien studied everything with intense curiosity. Her movements were fluid, almost hypnotic. When she passed close to Olivia, a strange scent like cinnamon and ozone filled the air. "What exactly does harvest mean?" Olivia asked quietly as they walked. Zaravek looked at her with those unsettling eyes. "Your planet contains resources we need, biological resources. You mean people, Olivia said flatly. Among other things, Zaravek replied. Marriage would establish a treaty. Your world would provide what we need voluntarily, in smaller amounts. Without marriage, we take everything. A chill ran down Olivia's spine. She helped Zaravek into the jeep, noticing how the soldiers kept their distance. The alien seemed unbothered by their fear, her attention now on the night sky. Your stars look different from here, Zaravek said quietly. Soon my people will blot them out. As they drove back to the base, Olivia kept glancing at their strange passenger. Something didn't add up. If the aliens had such power, why offer any alternative at all? And why marriage, of all things? By dawn, the strange ship had been transported to a secure facility. Zaravek was placed in a specially prepared room, comfortable but heavily monitored. And Olivia found herself on a video call with the President and Joint Chiefs, trying to explain the impossible situation. She says we have 7 days to agree to her terms, Olivia concluded. After that, they begin harvesting humans for resources. The President looked grim. And we're supposed to believe one marriage will prevent this. That's what she claims, sir. Keep her contained. Learn what you can. I'm calling an emergency council, the President ordered. And, Commander? Find out who exactly they expect to marry this green woman. After the call ended, Olivia sat alone, replaying the night's events in her mind. Outside her window, people went about their normal lives, unaware that everything might change in 7 days. She thought of Zaravek's strange eyes and felt certain the alien wasn't telling the whole truth. Marriage or death seemed too simple, too bizarre. There had to be more to the story, and somehow Olivia knew she would be the one to discover it. Morning came with confirmation of Zaravek's warning. People around the world looked up to see massive ships hanging in the sky. They appeared suddenly, as if stepping through invisible doors. 7 of them, each the size of a small city, positioned over major population centers. Panic spread quickly. Some people ran, others prayed. Many just stood in streets staring upward with open mouths. In Washington, the President's Emergency Council gathered. Military leaders wanted to strike first. Scientists urged caution. Diplomats suggested negotiation. They argued while screens showed the alien ships hovering silently above Earth's cities. Olivia stood at the back of the room, watching. She had been called to report directly on her encounter with Zaravek. These ships have made no aggressive moves yet, said Admiral Harris, but our weapons can't even scratch them. We've tried. What about nuclear options? Asked the Secretary of Defense. Absolutely not, the President said firmly. Not overpopulated areas, and we don't know if that would work either. Dr. Susan Blackwood entered the room late carrying a tablet. As Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien biology, she had been studying the data from Zaravek's ship. I may have some insight, she said, connecting her tablet to the main screen. I've analyzed the ship's database. Their language translated surprisingly easily. Images appeared on screen, diagrams of DNA-like structures, but with unfamiliar patterns. The Thraxians' social structure revolves around genetic exchange, Susan explained. What we see as marriage, they see as a political alliance through biological merger. You mean they literally mix DNA? Asked the President. Susan nodded. From what I can tell, yes. Their reproduction is different from ours. They combine genetic material from partners, but in a more deliberate way. They select specific traits to pass on. So this marriage demand, Olivia began, is likely about acquiring human genetic material, Susan finished. Though I don't yet understand why. The Secretary of State shook his head. So they want our DNA, why not just take it? Why this marriage charade? Perhaps because forced taking creates genetic incompatibility, Susan suggested. The text mentions something called rejection syndrome when unwilling subjects are used. The discussion continued for hours. Finally, the President made a decision. Commander Reeves, you've had the most interaction with this alien. I want you to continue as her liaison. Learn everything you can about their true intentions. Olivia nodded. Yes, sir. And find out who they want for this marriage. We need to know what we're dealing with. Back at the base, Olivia found Zaravek standing by a window, watching birds in the distance. The alien had been given quarters in a secure wing, comfortable but isolated. Your leaders are frightened, Zaravek said without turning. They should be. Can you blame them? Olivia asked. You show up and threaten to harvest us. Zaravek turned, her amber eyes seeming to glow in the afternoon light. We offer salvation through alliance. Few species receive such opportunity. Some opportunity. Marry one of your kind or die. You misunderstand the honor being extended, Zaravek said. The Thraxian royal lineage does not mix with lesser species without grave necessity. Olivia leaned against the wall. So why now? Why us? Instead of answering, Zaravek approached Olivia slowly. You fear me, yet you hide it well. That shows strength. Before Olivia could respond, Zaravek reached out and touched her hand. The contact sent a shock through Olivia's body. Suddenly, her mind filled with images. Planets burning, civilizations falling to dust, and strange crystalline beings consuming everything in their path. Then a fleet of ships, much like those now above Earth, fleeing across endless space. Olivia pulled her hand away, gasping. What was that? Memory transfer. A taste of it, Zaravek said quietly. You misunderstand our offer, Commander Olivia Reeves. It is not subjugation we seek, but salvation. Whose salvation? Yours or ours? Zaravek smiled for the first time, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp. Perhaps both. For the next 3 days, Olivia spent most of her time with Zaravek. The alien followed her everywhere, asking endless questions about human customs, emotions, and biology. She seemed particularly interested in how humans formed bonds. Your species pairs based on emotional attachment, Zaravek observed as they walked through the base garden. Guards watched from a distance. This is inefficient. Maybe, Olivia said, but we value choice in our partners. Choice is luxury. Survival is necessity. Zaravek stopped to examine a rose. Beauty that fades quickly. Like your lives. Something in her tone made Olivia pause. You sound almost sad about that. Zaravek looked up at the sky where one of the massive ships was visible even in daylight. Time passes differently for my kind. I have watched many species rise and fall. Is that what you plan for us? To watch us fall? That depends on your leader's decision. Zaravek turned to face Olivia. And perhaps on yours. Mine? What do I have to do with this? More than you realize, the alien said cryptically. That evening, Olivia received a call from Dr. Susan Blackwood. I've found something interesting, Susan said. The ship's database contains genetic profiles of thousands of species. Many now extinct. Extinct how? Olivia asked. That's unclear. But here's the strange part. The Thraxians have been collecting and preserving genetic material for millennia. Almost like a galactic Noah's Ark. Olivia thought of the images Zaravek had shown her. Could they be running from something? Possibly. I need more time with the data. After ending the call, Olivia couldn't sleep. She kept seeing those visions of planets burning. Around midnight, she went to check on Zaravek. The alien stood by the window as she often did at night. But this time, Olivia noticed something different. Zaravek was scanning the stars systematically, her expression tense. What are you looking for? Olivia asked. Zaravek didn't seem surprised by her presence. Signs, always, we must watch for signs. Of what? Instead of answering, Zaravek asked, Has your council decided? 4 days remain. They're still discussing options. This isn't an easy decision. There's only one wise choice, Zaravek said. But wisdom is rare among young species. Olivia decided to take a risk. Dr. Blackwood found your genetic database. You've been collecting DNA from many species. Why? Zaravek was silent for a long moment. Preservation, she finally said. Preservation against what? The alien turned fully to face Olivia. Her green skin seemed paler in the moonlight. Some things cannot be explained, only experienced. But I will try. She reached out both hands this time. Olivia hesitated, remembering the flood of images from before. But curiosity won out. She took Zaravek's hands. The connection was immediate and stronger than before. Olivia saw a green planet with 3 moons. Beautiful cities with towering spires. The Thraxian homeworld she somehow knew. Then darkness spreading across the stars, planets going silent one by one. The Thraxians fighting something she couldn't quite see. Losing, fleeing, and always. The feeling of being hunted. When the connection broke, Olivia found herself on her knees. Zaravek kneeling beside her. Now you begin to understand, the alien said softly. The marriage we seek is not conquest. It is alliance against something far worse than us. What is hunting you? Olivia whispered. We call them the collectors. They consume all life, all consciousness, and they have followed us here. Olivia looked up at the night sky with new fear. Are they already here? Not yet. But soon. Zaravek helped her to her feet. Tell your leaders, Commander. The Thraxian fleet is not your enemy. We are all that stands between Earth and extinction. As dawn broke, Olivia sat alone in her quarters writing her report. How could she make the council believe? The visions felt real, but she had no proof beyond her own experience. 3 days remained until the Thraxians' deadline. 3 days to convince Earth's leaders that the real threat hadn't arrived yet, that the aliens in the sky might be their only hope of survival. And somewhere in the back of her mind a new question formed. Who exactly did the Thraxians want to marry? And why did Zaravek keep looking at her with those knowing amber eyes? 2 days before the deadline, scientist Megan Walsh made a breakthrough. Working nights in a secret lab beneath Washington, she had been studying the communications between the Thraxian ships. Most were encoded, but some patterns emerged. Look at this, Megan said, pointing to her computer screen as Olivia entered the lab. The ships aren't just talking to each other. They're scanning deep space, and whatever they're finding has them scared. Olivia leaned closer. How can you tell they're scared? Communication frequency increases by 300% after each scan. Message length shortens, classic signs of stress in any communication system. Megan pushed her glasses up. They're running from something that destroyed their homeworld. This matched what Zaravek had shown Olivia. The collectors, she murmured. What? Nothing. Keep working on this. I need to report to the council. The emergency council had been in nearly constant session since the ships appeared. When Olivia arrived, they were debating military options again. We've distributed experimental high-energy weapons to bases worldwide, General Miller was saying. If we coordinate a simultaneous strike on all 7 ships and risk immediate retaliation, the Secretary of State interrupted. We should be exploring diplomatic solutions. Olivia cleared her throat. I have new information. All eyes turned to her as she summarized what she'd learned from Zaravek and Megan's discovery. So these collectors might be coming here? The president asked when she finished. According to Zaravek, yes, and the Thraxians are refugees, not conquerors. Convenient story? General Miller scoffed. They show up threatening to harvest us, then claim they're here to save us from something worse. I've seen their memories, Olivia insisted. Whatever they're running from destroyed entire planets. Dr. Susan Blackwood, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. The genetic database supports this. Many species in their records show signs of sudden extinction events, and I've identified something else in their biology. The Thraxians are dying out. What do you mean? Asked the president. Susan pulled up images on the main screen. Their genetic structure is degrading. Generation by generation, they're becoming less viable. They need new genetic material to create hybrids, resistant to what they call the Great Plague, possibly a bioweapon, used against them. So the marriage demand, Olivia began, is likely about creating a genetic bridge between our species, Susan confirmed. They need human DNA to save themselves. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this. And who exactly are they proposing to marry? The president finally asked. Susan looked uncomfortable. Based on their messages and the biological markers they're seeking, they want someone with specific genetic traits. High intelligence, leadership capability, and strong adaptive immunity. Like who? Susan glanced at Olivia. Like Commander Reeves. Olivia felt the blood drain from her face. Me? Why would they want me? Your DNA was scanned when you touched the ship, Susan explained. And again during your contact with Zaravek. You match their criteria almost perfectly. The council erupted in argument. Some viewed this as proof of deception. Others saw it as confirmation of the Thraxians' desperation. I need to speak with Zaravek, Olivia said, cutting through the noise. Directly and privately. Absolutely not, General Miller objected. This could be a trap. With respect, General, I've had multiple opportunities to be trapped already, Olivia countered. I need answers only she can provide. The president studied her face. You believe this story about the collectors? I believe something is coming, Olivia said carefully, and we need to know exactly what before time runs out. After a long pause, the president nodded. You have authorization to interview the alien. But be careful, Commander. Back at the base, Olivia found Zaravek in the garden studying a butterfly that had landed on her finger. The scene looked almost peaceful, if not for the armed guards nearby. You knew all along, Olivia said, approaching. You chose me specifically. Zarovek gently blew on the butterfly, watching it fly away. Yes, why didn't you just say so? Would you have believed me? Would your leaders have accepted our true purpose when you feared us as invaders? The alien's amber eyes fixed on Olivia. Fear blinds. We needed time. Time for what? For you to see. To understand. Zarovek moved closer. My kind cannot simply take what we need. The bond must be willing or the genetic merger fails. And what exactly does this merger involve? Olivia asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Not what your people imagine. There is no physical requirement. Zarovek seemed almost amused. The process happens at cellular level, painless, but it creates a permanent bond. Shared consciousness to a degree. Olivia thought of the memory transfers she'd already experienced. Like when you showed me your memories? A taste only. The full bond is deeper. Zarovek looked up at the sky. It would allow us to combine Thraxian technology with human neural patterns. To create weapons that can harm the collectors. So this marriage is really about making weapons? About survival, Zarovek corrected. Yours and ours. Before Olivia could respond, alarms blared across the base. Her communicator buzzed urgently. Commander, Lieutenant Patel's voice came through. We're picking up a massive object entering the solar system. Nothing like we've ever seen before. Olivia looked at Zarovek, who had gone very still. Is it them? The collectors? The Harbinger, Zarovek whispered. Their scout ship. We have less time than I feared. In the command center, screens showed a massive object moving toward Earth. Black as space itself, it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The Thraxian ships had changed position, forming a loose defensive line. What are we looking at? Olivia asked. The first wave, Zarovek replied. The Harbinger tests defenses, identifies threats, then calls the main fleet. How long until it reaches Earth? Hours, not days. The base commander looked to Olivia. Orders, ma'am? She thought quickly. Alert all bases worldwide, full defensive posture, and get me the president. Within an hour, a global state of emergency had been declared. The Thraxian threat was temporarily forgotten as Earth faced this new danger. Military units mobilized worldwide. Civilians were urged to stay indoors. In Washington, the Emergency Council reconvened via secure video. The Thraxian ships are transmitting a message, reported the communications director. They're offering to coordinate defense with our forces. Can we trust them? Asked the Secretary of Defense. All eyes turned to Olivia. I believe their threat is real, she said. They've been running from these collectors for generations. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already. After heated debate, the president made his decision. We accept their offer of coordination. But our forces remain under Earth command. As the meeting ended, Olivia pulled Dr. Susan Blackwood aside. If what Zarovek says is true, we need those weapons that can harm the collectors. And that means the genetic merger, Susan finished. Are you considering it? Do I have a choice? Olivia asked quietly. There's always a choice, Susan said. But sometimes all options are bad. Back in her quarters, Olivia found Zarovek waiting. How did you get in here? Olivia demanded. Your guards have more pressing concerns now, the alien replied. The Harbinger has increased speed. It will arrive within 3 hours. Olivia sank into a chair. Tell me the complete truth. No more half answers. What happens if I agree to this merger? Zarovek sat across from her. You become something new. Not fully human, not fully Thraxian. The first bridge between our kinds. Will I still be me? Yes, but with access to knowledge and abilities beyond human experience. Zarovek leaned forward. My consciousness will join with yours, but not replace it. Together we can operate weapons that require both Thraxian technology and human neural patterns. And if I refuse, then we fight without our strongest weapons. And likely we all die. Zarovek's voice softened. I did not choose this path, Olivia Reeves. Nor did I choose you lightly. Your mind called to mine from the moment we met. Olivia stared out the window at the darkening sky. Somewhere up there, humanity's greatest threat approached, and their supposed saviors were asking her to become something other than human to stop it. I need time to think, she said finally. Time is the one thing we do not have, Zarovek replied, rising to leave. When the Harbinger arrives, you will see the truth with your own eyes. Then decide. As the alien left, Olivia sat alone with her thoughts. The fate of 2 species might rest on her decision, and she had less than 3 hours to make it. The Harbinger arrived without warning. One moment the skies were clear except for the Thraxian ships. The next, a massive obsidian vessel appeared near the moon. It dwarfed even the Thraxian ships, its surface so black it looked like a hole in space. Olivia stood in the command center, watching live satellite feeds. "How big is that thing?" "Approximately 200 miles across," replied a technician. "It's generating energy readings off the charts." "The Thraxian ships are moving to intercept," Lieutenant Patel reported. On screen, the 7 alien vessels formed a defensive line between Earth and the Harbinger. Energy weapons fired, lighting up space with brilliant blue streaks. The massive black ship absorbed the attacks without visible damage. "Our satellites are picking up smaller objects launching from the Harbinger," someone called out. Hundreds of pod-shaped vessels detached from the main ship, heading toward Earth. Some were intercepted by Thraxian weapons exploding in silent bursts of light, but many more continued their descent. "Tracking multiple impact sites," Patel said grimly. "Major cities worldwide. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Cairo." Phones began ringing throughout the command center as reports came in. The pods had landed and opened. What emerged were not organic beings, but crystalline structures that grew rapidly, absorbing everything they touched: buildings, vehicles, and people. "They're turning everything to dust," reported a general from New York. His transmission ended abruptly in static. Olivia turned to find Zarovek standing beside her, watching the screens with ancient sadness in her eyes. "Now you see," the alien said quietly. "The collectors consume all organic matter, all consciousness. They have followed us across 17 star systems, destroying everything in their path." "Why?" Olivia asked. "What do they want?" "They do not want. They simply are. A plague of crystal that spreads and consumes." Zarovek pointed to a screen showing one of the crystalline structures growing in downtown Los Angeles. "They have no consciousness we can comprehend. Only hunger." The president appeared on the main screen, speaking from a secure bunker. "Commander Reeves' assessment?" "Conventional weapons are having no effect, sir," Olivia reported. "The crystalline structures absorb or deflect everything we throw at them. They're spreading at an exponential rate. The Thraxians? Their ships are engaging the Harbinger, but with limited success." The president's face was grim. "Options?" Zarovek stepped forward. "Mr. President, I am Zarovek of the Thraxian Imperium. We have weapons that can destroy these structures, but they require human neural patterns to activate." "The marriage proposal," the president said, understanding dawning on his face. "A simplified term for your understanding," Zarovek replied. "But yes, the bonding would allow Commander Reeves to operate our most powerful defenses." All eyes turned to Olivia. The weight of the decision pressed down on her. "How quickly could this bonding be done?" the president asked. "Hours," Zarovek answered. "But we must begin immediately." The president looked at Olivia. "Commander, this is your decision. But know that millions of lives hang in the balance." Olivia took a deep breath. "I'll do it, but I need to understand exactly what I'm agreeing to." After the call ended, Zarovek led Olivia to her ship, which had been kept in a secure hangar at the base. Inside, the alien revealed a room Olivia hadn't seen before, hidden behind a seamless wall. "Our bonding chamber," Zarovek explained. "Designed for genetic and neural integration." 2 pod-like structures stood side by side, connected by glowing tubes filled with shimmering fluid. The walls pulsed with the same blue-green light Olivia had seen when they first met. "Once we enter these pods, nanites will create connections between our neural networks," Zarovek explained. "Our consciousness will remain separate but linked. You will gain access to Thraxian knowledge and abilities. I will better understand human thought patterns." "Will it hurt?" Olivia asked, eyeing the pods warily. "There is discomfort in transformation," Zarovek admitted. "But the process includes pain suppression." Olivia stared at the alien technology. "You said this is permanent. What happens after?" "If we survive, I mean, you will still be Olivia Reeves, but also something more." Zarovek's expression softened. "My people call it soul binding. It is our most sacred bond. And this will let me control your weapons?" "Our weapons," Zarovek corrected. "They will recognize you as Thraxian." Outside the ship, reports continued to come in of collector crystals spreading across major cities. Military forces worldwide were falling back, unable to stop the advance. The death toll was already in the thousands and climbing rapidly. Olivia made her decision. Let's do it. They prepared quickly. Olivia changed into a thin suit Zaravek provided, designed to enhance connectivity. The alien explained each step as they went, her usual aloofness replaced by focused attention. Once the process begins, it cannot be stopped, Zaravek warned as they stood before the pods. Are you certain? No, Olivia admitted. But I'm doing it anyway. They stepped into the pods which sealed around them. The fluid-filled tubes between them began to pulse more rapidly. A sweet-smelling gas filled Olivia's pod, making her dizzy. Relax your mind, Zaravek's voice came through speakers inside the pod. The more you resist, the more difficult the integration. Olivia tried to calm her racing thoughts. The liquid in the tubes began to glow brighter, moving from Zaravek's pod to Olivia's. When it reached her, she felt a tingling sensation across her skin, then deeper, as if her very cells were vibrating. Pain flashed through her body, quickly followed by numbness. Images flooded her mind. Stars she'd never seen, planets she'd never visited, beings she couldn't have imagined. Thousands of years of Thraxian history and knowledge poured into her consciousness. She saw the Thraxian homeworld, beautiful and ancient, watched as the first collector crystals appeared, spreading across continents, felt the terror as billions died, experienced the desperate flight across the stars, always one step ahead of destruction, and through it all, she sensed Zaravek's presence guiding her, helping her organize the flood of information. How long the process took, Olivia couldn't tell. It felt like both seconds and centuries. When the pod finally opened, she stumbled out on shaky legs. Zaravek caught her, steadying her with surprising strength. It is done, the alien said softly. Olivia looked down at her hands and gasped. Faint green patterns traced across her skin, glowing subtly, then fading. She could feel new awareness spreading through her mind, knowledge of technologies beyond human understanding, languages never spoken on Earth, and a constant, gentle presence that was Zaravek. I can feel you, Olivia whispered, in my head, and I you, Zaravek replied. The bond is strong, stronger than anticipated. Before they could discuss further, Lieutenant Patel's voice came through the ship's communication system. Commander, collector crystals have been spotted 10 miles from the base. We're evacuating civilians, but we're running out of time. We're coming, Olivia responded, surprised at how steady her voice sounded despite the chaos in her mind. Zaravek led her to another chamber within the ship, where a sleek metallic suit stood waiting. Unlike anything Olivia had seen before, it seemed almost alive, its surface rippling slightly as they approached. Combat armor, Zaravek explained. It will respond to your thoughts now that you carry Thraxian neural patterns. As Olivia approached, the suit opened itself. She stepped inside and it sealed around her body, fitting perfectly. Immediately she felt connected to systems she couldn't have comprehended hours ago. The suit enhanced her strength, speed, and senses. Through it she could access the ship's weapons and communications. This feels... She struggled to find words. Natural, Zaravek finished for her. Because it is part of you now. They moved quickly to the ship's control room. Zaravek's hands danced over symbols that Olivia now understood. The ship hummed to life around them. The other Thraxian vessels are engaged with the Harbinger, Zaravek said, reading data streams. We must target the ground crystals first, prevent further spread. Olivia nodded, somehow knowing exactly what needed to be done. Through her new connection to Zaravek, she accessed weapon systems that required both Thraxian technology and human neural patterns to operate. Ready the pulse cannons, she said, the alien words feeling strange yet familiar on her tongue. The ship rose from the hangar, sleek and powerful. Below they could see the crystalline structures advancing through nearby towns, leaving only dust behind. Military helicopters and jets circled helplessly, their weapons having no effect. Target locked, Olivia said, feeling the weapon systems through her suit. Firing! Brilliant white energy burst from the ship, striking the nearest crystal formation. Unlike previous attempts, this energy didn't dissipate harmlessly. It penetrated the crystal, causing it to vibrate, crack, and finally shatter into harmless dust. It worked, Olivia exclaimed. The first of many, Zaravek replied grimly. We must coordinate with your military to target all landing sites. As they flew toward the next target, Olivia felt something else through their bond, Zaravek's relief, and beneath it, a deep sadness. You didn't expect to survive this, did you? Olivia asked quietly. The probability was low, Zaravek admitted. It still is, but higher than before. The final battle for Earth unfolded in the skies above a devastated London. 3 days had passed since the Harbinger's arrival. The collector crystals had been pushed back, contained to isolated areas through the combined efforts of Thraxian technology and human determination. But the massive black ship still hung in orbit, launching new pods whenever defenses weakened. Olivia, now neurally linked to Thraxian technology, led a desperate coalition of human and alien fighters. Her mind had adjusted to the bond with Zaravek, their thoughts flowing together in strange harmony. The green patterns on her skin now appeared permanently, faint lines that glowed when she accessed Thraxian systems. The Harbinger is preparing another launch cycle, Olivia informed the command center, reading data directly through her neural link. We need to strike now before more pods are deployed. On screen, the president nodded gravely. All Earth forces are at your disposal, Commander. What's the plan? Olivia felt Zaravek's thoughts merge with her own as they formulated strategy. The Harbinger has one vulnerability, its central power core. If we can deliver a concentrated energy pulse directly to the core, it should create a cascade failure. Should? General Miller asked skeptically. It's worked on smaller collector vessels, Olivia explained, but the Harbinger is their mothership. Much larger, more heavily defended. What do you need from us? The president asked. Distraction, Olivia replied. Every fighter jet, every missile, everything you've got. Draw their defensive systems away from the central section. The Thraxian ships will create an opening. My ship will deliver the pulse. No one mentioned the obvious, that such a close approach was likely suicide. As preparations began, Olivia stood alone on the observation deck of Zaravek's ship. Earth hung below, beautiful despite the destruction visible on its surface. Parts of major cities glittered with crystalline formations that hadn't yet been neutralized. Zaravek joined her, their shared consciousness making words almost unnecessary. Still, they spoke aloud from habit. You're thinking of the energy requirements, Zaravek said. Olivia nodded. The calculations don't work. We don't have enough power to generate a pulse strong enough to penetrate the Harbinger's core. There is another way, Zaravek said quietly, but the cost is high. Through their link, Olivia saw what Zaravek proposed. No, that would kill you. Perhaps both of us, the alien admitted. Our life forces are linked now. There has to be another way. There isn't, not in the time we have. Zaravek placed a hand on Olivia's shoulder. My people have fled for generations, watching worlds die behind us. This ends here. Before Olivia could argue further, alarms sounded throughout the ship. The Harbinger was moving, dropping lower in orbit, its massive form casting shadows over continents. It's preparing for full planetary harvesting, Zaravek said, urgency in her voice. We must move now. The next hours passed in a blur of activity. Earth's military forces launched everything they had, fighters, missiles, even experimental space weapons. The 6 remaining Thraxian ships formed a wedge formation, their advanced weapon systems targeting the Harbinger's outer defenses. Olivia and Zaravek piloted their ship into position, waiting for the moment when the combined assault would create an opening. Through her neural link, Olivia could sense the Thraxian crews, their determination, their fear, their hope that this fight might finally end their long running. Breach detected in Sector 7, reported Lieutenant Patel from Earth Command. Defensive systems temporarily overloaded. That's our window, Olivia said. All forces maintain attack pattern. Keep their attention divided. Their ship accelerated toward the Harbinger, dodging debris and energy pulses. The black surface of the massive vessel loomed closer, details becoming visible, strange geometric patterns, pulsing with faint purple light. Approaching target zone, Olivia announced, her hands dancing over controls that responded to her thoughts as much as her touch. Charging pulse cannon. Warning indicators flashed as the ship diverted all power to the weapon. Life support systems dimmed. Gravity fluctuated. Energy levels insufficient, Zaravek said, confirming what Olivia already knew. We need more power. Their eyes met in silent understanding. Through their bond, Olivia felt Zaravek's resolve. The alien's memories flooded her consciousness once more. Centuries of running, watching civilizations fall, carrying the burden of being among the last of her kind. Together, then, Olivia said softly. Zaravek nodded. "It has been an honor, Olivia Reeves." They connected themselves directly to the ship's systems, their joined consciousness becoming a conduit for energy. The neural link that bound them expanded, drawing power from their very life forces. Pain coursed through Olivia's body as the ship channeled energy through her, combining it with Zarovek's alien biology to create something new. The pulse cannon glowed white-hot, charged beyond its designed capacity. On the view screen, they could see they had reached the target zone, a relatively unprotected area directly above the Harbinger's power core. "Earth Command. We're in position," Olivia managed to say through gritted teeth. "All forces pull back to safe distance. Confirmed, Commander," came the reply. "Good luck." Olivia and Zarovek shared one last look. Through their bond, no words were needed. Gratitude, respect, and something deeper flowed between them. Two beings from different worlds joined by circumstance and choice. "Firing," Olivia whispered. The pulse cannon released its energy in a blinding flash. The concentrated beam struck the Harbinger's hull, boring through layer after layer of exotic material. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a tremor ran through the massive ship. Cracks appeared, spreading rapidly across its surface. Light spilled from within. "It's working," Zarovek said, her voice weak but triumphant. The energy drain continued, pulling life force from both of them. Olivia's vision began to fade. Through their bond, she felt Zarovek's consciousness starting to slip away. "Stay with me," Olivia pleaded. Gripping the alien's hand, "Always," came the faint reply. Both aloud and in her mind, the Harbinger's destruction began slowly, then accelerated. Sections broke away, disintegrating into space. The central core glowed brighter and brighter until it collapsed in upon itself. The resulting shockwave hit their ship like a physical blow, sending them tumbling away. Emergency systems engaged automatically, stabilizing their flight path. But inside the control room, Olivia and Zarovek lay motionless, still connected to systems that had drained nearly everything from them. Darkness claimed Olivia. Her last conscious thought was of Earth safe below them, and of Zarovek, whose presence in her mind had grown so familiar so quickly. Olivia woke to the steady beep of medical equipment. She was back on Earth, in what appeared to be a hospital room. Her body felt strange, weak yet somehow different. When she raised her hand, she saw the green patterns were still there, though fainter now. "Welcome back, Commander," said Dr. Susan Blackwood, approaching the bed. "You've been unconscious for nearly a week, Zarovek?" Olivia asked, her voice hoarse. Susan's expression grew careful. Her physical form didn't survive the energy drain. Olivia closed her eyes, feeling an emptiness where the alien's presence had been. But as she focused, she realized something remained. Echoes of Zarovek's consciousness, memories, knowledge. "Not gone," Olivia whispered. "Not completely. We suspected as much," Susan said. "Your brain scans show unusual activity, and your cellular structure has been permanently altered. You're still human, but also something else now." Over the following months, Earth began to rebuild. The collector threat had been eliminated when the Harbinger was destroyed. The remaining Thraxian ships remained in orbit, no longer feared but welcomed as allies. The marriage that had begun as an ultimatum led to a new understanding between species. Other Thraxians formed bonds with willing humans, creating a new hybrid consciousness that benefited both races. The Thraxians gained genetic diversity and stability. Humans gained access to advanced technology and knowledge. As for Olivia, she became a bridge between worlds. Sometimes when she looked in the mirror, she thought she could see Zarovek looking back through her eyes. The bond had changed her forever, giving her glimpses of stars she'd never visited and memories of a world long destroyed. 1 year after the battle, Olivia stood on a cliff overlooking the ocean at night. The sky above was clear, stars shining brightly. Among them now were new lights, Thraxian settlements being built in Earth orbit, the beginning of a shared future. "We did it," she said softly to the night air. "We stopped running." No voice answered aloud, but deep in her mind she felt a familiar presence stir. Not gone, just transformed. Two beings from different worlds, now forever connected, not through force or fear, but through choice and sacrifice. The ultimatum that once seemed so terrible, marry this green alien woman or face death, had become something else entirely. Not subjugation, but salvation. Not ending, but beginning. Olivia smiled up at the stars. her skin glowing faintly green in the moonlight. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Not as separate species, but as something new, something stronger.